Hi everyone, welcome to the first in the series of tutorials on Android. I will be making mostly for my wife, but anyone else out there who's interested in getting the most that they can out of their Android device. And by the way, I don't have a rooted phone. I don't intend on rooting this phone, mostly because they have done a very good job of protecting this actual model from rooting. So we're going to start with developer options. Pull down that notification bar, jump into your settings. Most of the way down, you'll see About Device, whoop, right there. Inside, again, most of the way down, not at the very bottom, but close. Build number is what we're looking for. Just keep tapping away on that. It'll give you a countdown. You'll see mine's already on. But click it enough and it'll say you're a developer. So if you press back, go all the way down, you'll see a new option there, developer options. Now there's a couple of particular ones we're looking for. You can feel free to play around with the others, but some of them are useful, some of them are just kind of mainly for app developers. But first and foremost, USB debugging. Absolutely turn it on, leave it on. The reason is, if you should ever need to use your computer to talk to your Android, whether that's to rescue data or to get functionality out of it that you could not, maybe because of a broken screen, and you still need to use it, that's the only prayer you have, is if USB debugging is turned on. Only a couple other ones that we're looking for, the animation scales being one of them. So the animation scales are the little fancy spinning circles that you see when an app is loading, but it takes processing power to make those graphics. So by turning all these off, we're devoting all that power back to loading the actual app. Go figure. So you should notice faster load times from that. And then see at the very top here, force GPU rendering. Want that switch turned on, and the bottom switch turned on, hardware overlays. And what we've just done is, under normal circumstances, your CPU tells your GPU, your graphics processor, how much work it wants it to do. And if it's not a very heavy program, the CPU does all of the graphics for the screen itself. Now the GPU, yes, its name means graphic processor unit. Making graphics is what it's created to do. But the cost of this is basically the graphic processor unit burns a little more battery because it's running a second chipset aside from just your CPU. So when you turn these switches on, you're basically telling your phone, all graphics are done by GPU, period. CPU actually gets freed up to do more processing. So again, with this one, you'll notice faster load time with the price of a little bit faster battery usage. Now, some people like to have the 4MSAA, the anti-aliasing on. All that does is smooth the edges of pixels out so that if you're more about the eye candy, the graphics will look smoother and kind of crisper. I'm more of a performance guy, so I've left that one off, a personal preference thing on that one. So that's about it for this first one here. So again, to review, the animation scales, we turned all to off, and then the hardware overlays and GPU rendering, there and there. Make sure those guys are on. Animation scales off, and the biggest one, if you take nothing else from me today, USB debugging. Turn it on, leave it on. You'll thank yourself later. I believe that's about it for this first one. So we will be talking about all kind of stuff in these tutorials. Just a sneak preview, I built this entire widget you see in the top half of the screen from here up. And yes, I can show you how to do that too. Just stay tuned.